All right, hello. So this is my presentation for Jimi Hendrix. And hold on, I put this in the slide. So for my album review, I chose his first album, Are You Experienced? And it was definitely a whirlwind of album that I enjoyed a lot. It took more than a few listens to really get in the vibe of the music per se, but it was really enjoyable. So going on to the background, Jimi Hendrix, he was born in Seattle, and of course he has Native American and African American roots based off of his ancestry on both his mom and dad's side family. And one of the things that was surprising about his career overview, or like in terms of his past, was that he was enlisted in the army, and he was in it for a short time, obviously, because he is mostly known for his music career, less so his military career. And as most would know, popularly because he was part of the 27 Club and he died at a young age from a drug overdose, as it seems like most like rock stars during that era or around that time frame kind of suffered the same fate. But despite that, he was a rock and roll icon for decades. And here's a little picture of the Space Needle that I showed for Seattle, essentially. So for his album I reviewed, Are You Experienced, his first album, it incorporates a lot of like vibraphonic and idiophonic instruments. Now, a lot of those, obviously with the guitar and drums, in some songs there's even like a bell. You like bang on the bell, almost like a Native American tribe thing with the bells, regalia they would wear when they dance in terms of ceremonies. And that was really interesting, and kind of struck out to me as maybe like one of the aspects that he might have taken from his Native American roots to put that into his music. He also obviously had a very psychopathic twist in terms of rock. Even the album cover here, it kind of shows like all these different colors and all these like wacky bright colors, and I thought that was pretty interesting. And then going on to that, if you notice the song titles for Our Experience, they're a lot of times based around elements like Stone Free, or Purple Haze, or different things that just like really element inspired, that reminds you of how Native Americans approach their environment and elements, how they worship them, essentially, like have their own ideals about it. And then in terms of meanings, there are a lot of meanings to songs. When I did my essay about like different for specific songs, perhaps like Purple Haze, which oftentimes Jimi Hendrix talked about how he made songs based off like what he's feeling, what he's thinking, like what any experience he had just recently, and make a song and write it up and make a song out of it. So for other albums, he built out the first album. He expanded his vision of what he was going for in first album, and made somewhat like longer length songs of similar styles. One of which I'll play a 30-second clip here called "Manic Depression." See if it's a little janky here, but bear with me. All right, here we go. Searching my soul. I know what I want, but I just don't know how to pull up you. Feeling sweet feeling drops from my fingers. So that was a little taste of manic depression. As you can see, it was a very you can definitely tell with the guitar and drums and how he sings. It's not like a hard metal like rock you would see from other bands at the time. It was very kind of like psychedelic twist to it. In terms of career overview, he obviously, with a short career, died young. He made 3 major albums, each of which I'm sure are great. First one I listened to more extensively, of course. He also, in the essay, I pointed out how he made impromptu instruments for songs. Now, that was surprising to me because, like, oh, he improvised, made all these different sound effects that were at the time unheard of for that age in terms of music. And he made a lot of novel sound effects with the fades and his guitar. That was really cool. And at the same time, he was a bit of a perfectionist. How he's devoted to making music, but he had a really interesting recording schedule split between America and UK, so it was a little tedious from what I could tell. So going on to my reflections, I thought that I could see the Native American influence and how it impacted the album or his albums overall. And for me, taking my knowledge from class and taking it to listen to the album, there are a lot of things I noticed about his album that are kind of clear to me about like his Native American roots. And as I hinted before, the change in genre from like what is expected from AC/DC and CCR, it was a different take on rock that was just like this whole new niche essentially. It's made him so famous, and that kind of brings to the point about how too much of good thing is a bad thing, and like how like his in his music he didn't overdo it. He kept it like to how he wanted it to be and didn't like go crazy with it too much. He stuck to what he wanted to do, which I thought that was really nice. So for like I said before, he had really big engineering music. He kind of pioneered different things that were different in terms of how he played the guitar and how his skills really like showed how he like made his music. And the choir taste, I would say that kind of like stuck out to me because at first it was like hard to like grasp like what I'm listening to, but as I kind of learned, listen to it more and more, like AC/DC, because I didn't understand a word the lead singer of AC/DC was saying. For this one was kind of similar effect where I listened more and kind of got more of the song and the album overall. And that'll be end of my presentation. Thank you for listening. And this is Jimi Hendrix and his album, Are You Experienced?